So there's a meme I've seen that's got a goat and a baby goat in the same picture. And I feel like I'm hanging out with the UTSA goat and the UTSA baby goat. Coach Coker, Coach Traylor, thank you so much for the time.
Well, I'm the goat, he's the ram. I mean,
No.
Not the Ram coach?
Oh, I'm nowhere near what he is, nowhere near.
So we're sitting in the race facility, Coach Coker. $41.5 million, $42 million price tag, and I'm probably shorting it some. You've seen the facilities, the second bowl game for the program in as many years, a conference championship, 12 wins. It's a little bit of a difference from having to borrow equipment to practice, traveling to a high school field, a facility to practice, scrambling to find meeting rooms. I mean, does it just completely put you in awe when you look at where the program is now?
it's not a little bit different, it's just night and day different. And put me in awe, no doubt about it. This is tremendous progress the program's made, and I'm excited. But you know what? And then it's just something to say. You knew it could happen. You knew it could happen. And the city and the university and Coach has done a great job with it. Appreciate him.
How much did that keep you going in the beginning? When I know when you're starting something from scratch, there are a lot of tough days. And so how much did I know this can happen? I know this can happen. I know we can get to, although the specifics maybe weren't there, how much did it keep you going back in the beginning?
You know what it did, but you just go to work and try to do your job. You just go recruit and coach and do the best you can with what you have. You don't complain about it, just recruit and coach.
Recruit and coach. And so Coach Traylor, here you are sitting next to Coach Larry Coker, a man that I know you have great affection for, and you've often talked about what Coach Coker means to you and to the program as well. So none of this is possible without Coach Coker and his staff and the folks who were there at UTSA when football first started, right?
Yeah, you got to remember I was a Texas high school football coach, and Larry's one of the guys that was a hero of ours. You're always looking for the guys that do it right. And there's so many stories of guys that don't do it right. There's not enough stories of guys that do it right. And I would always do my research because, you know, a lot of times college coaches will act one way and be another way. And I would always dig on Coach, and there was nothing but raving reviews on him. His coaches that recruited my school were fantastic people. Kevin Brown, Charlie Reeve. True story, when I got hired at Texas, I didn't even have a tight end in my offense at Gilmer. We were spread out, throwing it all over the yard. I called Kevin Brown, who I had a lot of respect for. I said, who's the best tight end coach you know? He said, Charlie Reeve is. I said, well, I'm in Austin. You mind if I come down here and get some drills from Charlie? I drive right down here. Coach didn't even know I was here on this campus, meet with Charlie and Kevin. Charlie gives me my tight end drills, and I start coaching tight ends a lot because of Coach Coker's Charlie Reeve.
That's awesome. So do you remember the first time, your first interaction with Coach Coker?
You know, I don't. I'm sure it was in passing. I'm sure it was, you know, when he was at the U, you know, he was larger than life. We were all trying to shake his hand, you know, during that time. I just know that books I read, stories I read, he was just such a man of character, such a man of faith. And you could tell by the people he surrounded himself, again, his staff. And I draw on Kevin quite a bit because I have my down days because we're not all the way there yet. He definitely passed the torch to me in a much, much better place, but we've got a long ways to go. And Kevin will say, Jeff, we were borrowing equipment. We were driving to a high school. You're complaining because whatever it might be, right? It reminds me of how far this place has come.
When you got the job, Coach, here at UTSA, do you remember then that first interaction with Coach Coker?
Yeah, I did. I knew I needed to get somebody that knew the city, so Kevin Brown was first and foremost on my mind. And as soon as I hired Kevin, his first thing was, we got to get Coach involved heavily. So we've been in contact with Coach. Kevin's made that easy. Because obviously him and Kevin have such a great relationship.
And Coach Coker, what's it been like to be involved and kind of, you know, when you're the first ever head coach and you start the thing from scratch, you're forever a part of the program. But at the same time, you don't have to deal with all the things that Coach Traylor has to deal with nowadays. So is it kind of the best of both in that you're forever a part of the program, but at the same time, kind of get to do it at your own pace, kind of on your own time?
I don't want to deal with what he has to deal with, for sure. He's got that. I've done that. I don't want to do that anymore. But no, I've just been really very blessed to be involved with it and brought back in the program and just to see the progress it's made. It's been unbelievable. Unbelievable.
During the UAB game, came out in the timeout between the third quarter and the fourth quarter. And the dome was packed that day, as it was for the Conference USA Championship. And the loudest it got, even when you consider portions of the game, was when you came out on that cart. Said, wave to the fans, public address announcers saying, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Larry Coker. What was that like for you?
Well, it's awesome. How did I wave? The wave good?
Great wave. Like everything else. Great job.
No, I tell you what, it was awesome, and just a little bit surprised, to be honest with you. And really kind of from where I came from, I guess you say humble beginnings and high school and all that, and be involved with that, just amazing to me, amazing.
Coach Traylor often talks about his high school roots. In that kind of a way, are you guys kind of kindred spirits in a way? High school roots, and look where you guys are now. When you draw upon those high school days, I mean, I imagine that's something that's pretty special, Coach Traylor?
Yeah, there's nothing like it. You know, that's where the purest form of coaching really is. And those guys got to have you, right? I'm not sure my guys here have to have me. Those high school guys, those junior high kids, pre-K, elementary, they counting on Coach with a whistle to show up every day.
Yeah, and Coach, when you look at what the program has become, and I know we talked a little bit a while ago, if you could have imagined that it'd be here, relatively speaking, as quickly as it's gotten to where it is, how proud are you of where the program is now and Coach Traylor and everything that's going on, and not only the program and the success, but the type of young man that's coming through this program nowadays as well?
Well, I think that's the whole key. I think Coach has done a great job of that, recruiting not only good players, but good character kids. And it's kind of a combination there. And it's just amazing to me. But I knew it could be there, and he's really taking it to the next level, to be honest with you.
Anything upon your conversation with Coach Coker, Coach Traylor, anything that you kind of come away with thinking, I want to add that to my mindset. I want to add that to however it is that I see things through. Any interaction with Coach Coker kind of leave you kind of coming away with, I'd like to do this, do that, et cetera, et cetera?
He has a unique way of, he's a larger than life, mentor to so many of us, but yet he makes all of us feel like he's just like our friend. Like he came and spoke to my team for the Louisiana Tech game year before last, and just as humble as can be. He doesn't even know what those kids are all thinking, but as soon as he got through talking, every one of those kids like, Coach, do you have the ring? Do you have the ring? And he shows the Miami National Championship ring. Those kids just go crazy. Just his humility, his grace, but yet he's a really good ball coach, and players all respect him and they play hard for him, but he carries himself in such a way you'd never think he's this ferocious national champion, program building, starter up coach. And that his grace and how he carries himself is something that I hope somebody might get a hint of that from me at some point.
When you think of Coach Traylor, Coach Coker, and you see the enthusiasm and the positivity, what comes to mind when you think of Coach Traylor?
Well, I think just, like I said, he's very positive. I was saying X's and O's coach, but he's taking this program to the next level. And that's where it could be, and that's where he's taking it. And that's exciting. That's very encouraging, very exciting for me to see it happen.
Coach Traylor mentioned the national title ring. See it right here? Yeah? That's pretty neat.
I don't have one of those, Hector.
Very few people do, though, Coach. Very few people do. I know both of you very busy.
No. He's busy. I'm not that busy.
Well, we do appreciate the time either way, Coach Coker. And any last thoughts? When you think about where this program is, and you think about how none of it is possible without you, your staff, the dedication, the commitment of so many here at UTSA. When you think about just big picture, and unlike Coach Traylor, you're allowed to do that now. You're allowed to step back and just purely not worry about what's ahead. You can kind of focus on what you've done. What comes to mind?
Well, it's a good place to be, and not so much what I've done, but what could be and what the future holds. And you just knew it could happen. So it's a great city, and great players in the area here, and you knew it could happen. And just I'm excited about the direction it's going.
And Coach Traylor, I mean, you look at the trajectory of this program, and there's a good reason folks are excited. And that's probably an understatement. Really, really excited. I'm not going to ask you, I made the mistake when we sat down when you first came in, is what are your expectations? You're like, I'm not going to put a number on anything. We're just going to go out there, we're going to do the best we can every day, get better every day, and we'll see where that goes. I'm assuming if I ask you that question, the answer would more or less be the same. But in terms of what you've been able to do in the 2 short years that you've been here, do you look at the future and go, we thought anything was possible before, but now, geesh. Is there that element to kind of the thinking now?
Where my mind goes, and just like when Larry started, he had things that came along he had to overcome, like facilities, place to practice, having a season, just getting it all started, right? Scholarships, numbers, all those things, budgets. Where what's presented with us now is the new name, image, and likeness. You know, that's the next hurdle now that we have to embrace, and that'll be the next thing as a city. And we, like he said, we have the 7th largest city in the country. We have an amazing city. But those are the rules, and it does no good to complain about them. We've got to figure it out, and we've got to educate our kids, help them, connect them with businesses, and get that where those kids understand that this is not just somebody handing out money. This is a relationship. The businesses make money. You've got to provide them something that makes them want to invest in you. It could be a win-win. We just kind of figure it out. So that's what's next on my mind, and then we've got to go tackle the best way to handle this name, image, and likeness.
Coach Traylor, best of luck. Coach Coker, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time, both of you. And we'll see you guys soon, hopefully again.
Just win, baby.
Just win, baby. Thanks, Hector. God bless. Birds up.
With the only man fast enough to escape that explosion from Bane that blew up Gotham Stadium, at least the field. And a man so versatile that he's a Super Bowl MVP and a Dancing with the Stars champion. And now he's the coach of XFL San Antonio, Hines Ward.
Pleasure.
It is a pleasure.
Nice to
Thanks
meet you
for
there.
stopping by,
Pleasure
man. We
putting
appreciate
on.
it.
I'm glad to be here.
You wear a lot of hats. Like you've done a lot of stuff.
I have. I'm like the Forrest Gump. Modern day Forrest Gump is what I call myself. But I'm extremely blessed. I've been very blessed to have done a lot of things over my career, and getting the opportunity to be a head coach here in San Antonio is just like, that's a dream come true. One, I get an opportunity to do something that I love to do and sit in a chair, but just being able to be the head coach in San Antonio amongst these passionate fans of football, man, I'm just extremely humble, but super excited for the opportunity as well.
What's it been like the last couple of months? Because the league announced that a team was coming.
It's all about the right fit. And, you know, playing in Pittsburgh for 14 years, my entire career for the Steelers, I've been very blessed to be. I had 2 great coaches in Coach Cower and Mike Tomlin. So both guys were great leader of men, but the culture that we had in Pittsburgh was like no other. You know, the connection that the team had with the city, that's something that I would love to embrace for San Antonio. I want them to I want to put a great product on the field so they have that connection with the fans and just establishing that culture. But at the end of the day, I assembling the group of coaches, bringing them together. I'm super excited just to be a part of it.
Speaking of assembling the group, just between you and me, can you give us a little inside scoop on who's kind of joining the staff?
I do got Joey Porter on my staff. How about that?
Awesome.
Linebacker from Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
I can let you guys know that. But Joey, a passionate player, wears his emotions on his sleeves. He's somebody who embodied what defensive players are to be like. So I thought I had to have him on my staff just for the energy, just for itself, because he's going to bring the energy each and every day. Sometimes you got to hold Joey back a little bit because he wants to get out there and actually play football. I said, Joey, we've already had our time. Come on over here and coach.
The coaches that you've played for in Pittsburgh, Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin, how much do you take from them as you approach?
You know, it's kind of crazy because as a player, you sit in all those meeting rooms and you hear the same saying over and over. You can almost finish all their sayings before they even get to it. But, Coach Cowher spitting in your face, I'm not really going to miss that aspect of it, but he's very passionate about the players. And Mike Tomlin, you can't say enough good things about him. I mean, to be able to not have a losing season ever in his whole head coaching career, I think speaks volumes about him. But me just taking a little bit of both of kind of what I learned. It's about a daily process. You know, don't look too far ahead, don't look behind you, but just put your head down and keep grinding. That's the same mentality that I've always had as a player. And that's something that I want to just, teach our players is just, understanding that we're here to develop champions. We have to be champions in everything we do on a daily basis, because in football, it's not like a light switch. You can't turn it on when I want to turn it on when I want to be a champion, turn it off when I don't want to play. Your lights got to stay on at all times to be able to get to where you want to go. So that's something that I learned from both other coaches, just a daily process, a daily grind, just keep working at it.
Speaking of your time with the Steelers, I know don't have to tell you how much of a national following they have. But even still, because San Antonio is regarded as cowboy country, it surprises me how many Steeler fans and Packer fans there are in the greater San Antonio. Have you had a chance to kind of notice that? Like how many Steeler fans there are even in a hub of Dallas?
Well, there's Steeler fans all over. And I get it. And the teams in the 70s with Dallas and the Steelers, I mean, that's kind of just dates back way back then. But it just carried over. Everywhere you go, normally in Pittsburgh, even on our road games, there's more Steeler fans than there are the home team. So for us, our road game actually felt like a home game because our fans were just so passionate about, getting their hands on tickets to go support the Steeler Nation and stuff. So, and that's something that I saw a connection with the San Antonio fans. Just, a blue-collar city. Nothing flashy. They just love their sports. I mean, they're diehard, passionate about their sports teams. And for me to be a part of that, it just resonates with me because I played my whole career in Pittsburgh.
It's kind of interesting right now in terms of San Antonio and coaches. There's Greg Popovich, right?
Yes,
and
Godfather.
The Godfather, right? And then right now, like the coach in college football, Jeff Traylor at UTSA. I mean, when UTSA, who didn't have a football program much more than a decade ago, is keeping a guy away from going to Texas Tech, kind of gets, okay, there's something going on there.
It is.
And so now those two guys are in place. Now we get NFL star, Super Bowl MVP Hines Ward as a coach. It really is an interesting dynamic here for coaches.
Well, I'm not going to compare myself to those guys, especially the Godfather. I mean, I think he's done so much for the city. He is Mr. San Antonio himself. I mean, all the great things that he's done in the NBA world and still doing to this day. I just think that's who he is. That's his mark on the game of basketball. But for Coach Traylor, having success, putting really UTSA on the map as far as, having we can get good players here in San Antonio. We can develop them. We can win championships with them. He's done an amazing job. And, for me, it's just to have the opportunity to sit in the chair. My mindset is no different than those guys. I'm a championship or nothing. That's the mindset that I always have. I'm not just excited to have a winning season. I'm here to try to win it all. And that's just the way I think. That's just the way I approach life. I want to be a champion in everything that I do. And so now I have an opportunity to be the head coach of the San Antonio team. It's championship or nothing for us. That's the mindset that our team will have.
We appreciate your time, and we're not going to take too much more of it. But I'm just curious, to win the Super Bowl MVP as a receiver and to have your team celebrate a world championship, that must have been pretty darn cool.
It is. Words can't describe it, and it's something that no one can ever take away from you. For me, growing up, I was that little kid that I watched every Super Bowl. I emulated who was the MVP the next day at recess, and I remember Doug Williams, the quarterback for Washington, when he won the Super Bowl MVP. The next day at recess, I took a white T-shirt, I put 17 on it, I put Williams on it, and I was out there throwing touchdown passes. And so to see it all come together, it was almost surreal when I was sitting up there, with my son holding the Lombardi Trophy and being named Super Bowl MVP, just looking out in the midst of all the confetti. I was like, man, I wanted to know if there's a kid that's out there that want to be Hines Ward out at recess the next day. So to be able to live that moment was a dream come true of mine and something that no one could ever take away from me.
And then adding another Lombardi Trophy before you.
Yeah, I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed. Aaron Rodgers stole the third one from me, but I'm not going to complain about it.
Right up the road in Dallas. Never
yeah,
forget that one. Yeah, that was a great game. You've given us so many moments through the years we appreciate. As we let you go, just when fans show up at the Dome, what are they going to expect to see from a Hines Ward coach?
You know what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to give it my all, and I want our players to give relentless, great effort on each and every play. I want to put up a lot of points. I want the fans out there dancing in the stands. I really want the Alamo Dome to get rocking. So anytime any opponents come in there, they know that they have their hands full with our team. So Alamo Dome, San Antonio fans, come out, show your love, and it's going to be a good time. We're going to have a party in the Alamo Dome.
Super Bowl MVP, Dancing with the Stars champ. Most importantly, the guy that Bane could not get in The Dark Knight Rises.
Exactly.
We appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Come back and see us. Troy Aikman was in San Antonio recently to celebrate the one-year anniversary of his beer, 8. We talked about that, and we talked plenty of Dallas Cowboys, from the team's offseason to the franchise's drought to, of course, his playing days. From what I understand, 8 has done really well in San Antonio specifically.
Yes, it has. San Antonio is like a second home to me, quite honestly. I mean, it's been fantastic. We in the last year, we've hit a lot of markets in Texas. We're only in Texas right now. But when we come to San Antonio, the crowds, the enthusiasm, the excitement, and I know there's a lot of Cowboys fans, but there's also a lot of excitement for what we're trying to build with this brand. And it's been incredible. I mean, I would be here a lot more than I am if I could, but love coming here.
In terms of just the process of getting this off the ground, putting idea and vision into actual implementing it and making it go forth, what's been tougher, doing that or enjoying success on the football field?
They're both tough. They're both challenging. It's interesting. It's a good question because when I came to Dallas, of course, Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson came in at the same time, and there was a lot of change. We were at rock bottom, the worst team in the league. So, I saw that evolution of how we then became a world champion within 4 years. I think we started out probably a little ahead with the beer. We weren't at rock bottom. We were ground zero.
You weren't the 1 in 15 equivalent, or 3 and 13 the year before equivalent.
We hadn't lost anything yet. We hadn't won anything, but we hadn't lost anything. Yeah. But I just felt like the key for me has always been: are you willing to put in the work and the time that's required? And then can you hire good, talented people around you and have good teammates? And for me, my football career, I had great teammates, and in the beer side of things, I have great teammates as well. But my mantra has always been no shortcuts, no excuses. Put in the time, put in the work, put in the effort. And that's why on the side of these cans it says no shortcuts and no excuses, because it's a mantra that I've lived by, and hopefully we'll have the same success with this as some of the other things I've been a part of.
Speaking of the other things you've been a part of in your football days, the further we get away from when you played, I think the greater the appreciation is. And I know that may sound crazy to say because you went 3 and 4 years, and all of a sudden you go on not only history, but one of the best ever to do it, right? That being said, 25 years later, the further we get removed, here we are, and a lot of fans still pining for those days. When you look at those teams, not only was talent obviously a huge driving factor, but there was so much more around that unit, wasn't there?
For sure. I mean, our best players were our hardest working players. And I think when you have that, when you have talented players, and then you have those talented players that are willing to set the tone for the rest of the team, you have a real chance to be successful. And we had great coaching. I mean, it started with Jimmy Johnson, but we had a really great staff. We, at one time, didn't realize how good we were until we started to win at the highest level and win championships. I'm proud of the legacy that we left. I'm proud of what the 70s teams under Roger Staubach, having won 2 Super Bowls. Our teams of the 90s won 3, and now that's become the measuring stick and the bar. And I'm proud of that. It has been a long time. And my hope is, I do think the Cowboys, because of their rich history, deserve, you got to earn it. But it's been too long for a Dallas Cowboys team not to have even played in an NFC championship game. So it's a big drought, and hopefully this will be the year that gets changed.
I would say they're off to a pretty good offseason so far.
Yeah, I agree. They've kind of sat back in previous years. This year they were a little more aggressive, but they filled a couple real big needs. Bringing in Brandon Cooks, who I love, as a wide receiver, and then of course Stephon Gilmore, a former NFL Defensive Player of the Year, opposite of Trayvon Diggs, and those are 2 key positions in today's game. And now I think it allows them to kind of let the draft come to them a little bit and figure it out. But it hasn't been from a lack of talent. They've had good teams, and they've won a lot of games in the regular season. Unfortunately, just haven't played their best football when the games have mattered most. And that's the whole key to winning playoff football.
Re-signing Donovan Wilson, bringing back Leighton Vander Esch as well. If I can just get your prediction here real quick. If Bijan Robinson's there at 26, do you have to take him if you're the Cowboys?
Well, it's I like him. I really like Bijan Robinson. That would be an interesting choice. I'm not saying they shouldn't or they should, but they gave up a high draft pick when they brought in Ezekiel Elliott. And Elliott did a lot of really great things. But if you look around the league, there's just a lot of teams that just don't feel that you have to spend a first-round pick in order to do that. Now, They've got Tony Pollard. Do they want another guy that maybe can help take some of the load off of him? I guess time will tell. I think it'll be interesting to see what the Cowboys do if he is on the board when their selection is up.
So when fans kind of settle in and watch the Cowboys next year and for years to come, they're going to do it with an 8 in front of them.
Well, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Yeah, let's get that out there.
So here in San Antonio, for folks who might not be aware, where can they go grab their is it basically anywhere where alcohol, beers are sold?
Well, in San Antonio, H-E-B, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Total Wine, Buffalo Wild Wings serves it. We're in over 50% of the grocery stores across the state. We're in tons of bars and restaurants, but you can go to 8beer.com, put in your zip code, and it'll tell you exactly where the beer is being sold and available, and that list continues to grow.
All right. 8 turns 1-year anniversary. Congratulations on the success, further success, Troy. All right, appreciate the time. Thank you. Always great chatting with Tony Parker, especially now, from his relationship with Victor Wembanyama to his thoughts on Pop's new 5-year contract to his own big news. In a month, Tony officially takes his place among the best basketball players who've ever lived. Here's our chat with the Spurs legend amidst another big interest of his. There's a ton of people already waiting for you, and you've already been here for a couple of hours today, taking some time out to visit with us during the Thomas J. Henry Comic-Con. And for folks who don't know, Tony, this is right up your alley. Like, this is a big interest for you. Like, a lot of the models here are yours, right?
Yes, they're mine, and it's a big event. And it started with a small thing with my family and my brothers and my friends who didn't know what to buy for Christmas or to buy me for my birthday. And it started with like little statues, and then it started with a small collection, and then it became way too big, way too big. And so it's nice now I can share this, with my kids. They love Comic Cons, they love Marvel, they love DC Comics, and so for me it's a great way to bond with my kids and with my friends. We love all the movies, and to have a Comic Con like that in San Antonio, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty good friends with Bob, and so when we talked about having all my statues, I started last year with the San Antonio Museum. We did a 4-month exhibit, and the San Antonio Museum was so happy. It beat a lot of different records of attendance, and so this year it's a different format, but it's very familiar to people who loves Marvel. So I'm very happy to be here and connect, with San Antonio. It's been a long time that I did like an autograph session, so it's pretty cool to be back home.
So I got to ask you, when it comes to Marvel and superheroes, well, you're a Marvel guy as opposed to a DC guy. Is that a safe assumption?
I watch all of them. Okay. I watch all of them. If I had to choose, yes, I'm more Marvel, but I like both.
So favorite Marvel guy then is, or girl is?
So men, I'll go with Iron Man. Be my favorite. And if I had to choose a woman, I will go with Captain Marvel.
Good choices all the way around. Hey, you had a chance to chat with Victor since the Summer League play?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had lunch at my house. I came back beginning of July, and I invited him to have lunch with him, his dad, and his agent. Obviously, I know Victor for a while now. He played for my French team. We won a championship together. His big sister went to my academy. His little brother, Oscar, is still in my academy right now. And so I had a good connection with them. And he wanted to come for the Spurs. It was destiny, that he came play for the Spurs. And I'm super happy for him and his family. He wanted to be here. And I'm so happy to see the city like that. The city is super excited. And I can't wait for him to get started.
Speaking of destiny, you remember what your reaction was when the Spurs won the lottery?
Super happy for his family, because I knew he wanted to come to San Antonio. So I was super happy for Pop and RC, because that was the plan for a long time, to try to get the #1 pick, and everybody knew it was going to be Victor. So I was happy for the city, happy for everybody.
Advice for him now that he's played a couple games and he's going to hear some things,
Just be patient. And I think Pop's going to be a great help, for that, to make sure that he sets his own expectation. I know people are putting very, very high expectation, but you just have to have your own expectation and be patient, because it's going to be a process. He's still young. He still have a lot of stuff to learn, but he's got a lot of talent, and I'm sure he's going to be successful.
Speaking of Pop, the 5-year contract surprised you a little bit?
Yes and no. Before we had the #1 pick, I thought he was going to retire, and come drink some wine with me in my vineyard, But then we got the #1 pick, so now I'm not surprised that he wanted to stay and go through the process with Victor.
if they don't win the lottery, you think Pop's done like now? Like he doesn't coach this coming season?
I don't know, you never know. But yeah, I think like, you won everything. So it's tough to, to stay, motivated and stuff like that. But once you get the number one pick, then I knew he was going to go nowhere.
Fans have been waiting for you. We're going to let you go. But before, you yourself have a pretty big deal coming up in about a month. Getting inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, man, that has got to be super, super cool.
Yeah, it's super special, huge honor, and I can't wait to be in August. And it's very rare, those kind of rewards. It's like crazy. I can't wait to be over there and go through the process. It's been very interesting to write my speech. I'm being very nostalgic and going through the memories. It's pretty cool, and to go in, with Coach Pop and with my big sister Becky Hammond, it's going to be pretty special.
Can we get a small sneak peek of what's going to be in the Hall of Fame induction speech?
You'll see. You're going
to make us wait.
Yeah, of course. I'm working hard on it. You're going to have to wait.
Appreciate it as always, Tony. All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you.
August 11th and 12th, the weekend, Tony goes into the Basketball Hall of Fame with Pop, Becky Hammond, and another former Spurs teammate, Pau Gasol. With the Valero Alamo Bowl coming up at the end of the month, we sat down with UT head coach Steve Sarkisian ahead of their top 20 matchup against Washington. Coach, we were talking about I mentioned this a little while ago, how I was lucky enough to sit down with you before the Washington game 10 years back when you guys played Baylor, and I know you were asked quite a bit of questions about that ball game. Kind of hard to forget given the offensive output. Now, obviously here with UT, Coach, and just if you can speak to the game and what it's become, and really, when you were here 10 years ago, it was already a pretty big deal in terms of, one of the better bowl games.
I think the Alamo Bowl has done an unbelievable job of marketing itself. And when you think about, here's two top 20 teams playing in a bowl game that no other bowl game can claim outside of the New Year's Six. So it's going to be a heck of a game. We're fortunate to be part of it. We got a heck of an opponent. We got a lot of work to do to get ready for the University of Washington. But man, if you're not in the New Year's Six and you're playing the Alamo Bowl, it's a pretty good deal.
Wrapping up year 2 at UT, a lot of good things happening this year, and it seems like this is a good culmination. I heard you in a previous interview talk about, hey, you guys earned the bowl bid this year. So being able to cap this season with a bowl game.
Well, we're growing. I think we're heading in the right direction. Everybody wants to be a conference champion. Everybody wants to do those things that show progress, but sometimes you have to take the necessary steps, and part of that, our necessary steps was getting back on the winning side of things and getting to a bowl game, and getting to this game is a great accomplishment.
I'm just curious how a coach nowadays handles everything that he has to handle. It's not as simple, and maybe it never was simple, but it's even more complex than it was before when you take everything into account. You have time to breathe nowadays with everything going on?
Yeah, I love what I get to do. I say this jokingly, but I mean it. Every day I walk into our building, I love what I get to do. And I love our players. I love who they are. I love the way they represent themselves. And they're not perfect. That's okay. My job is to support them and to build them up. And these kids give all that they have to their craft. And we're fortunate to work with them. Those are real life decisions, that these kids have to go through. And then our job there then is to support them to make the best decisions that they can. And I'm fortunate to be around great people, for sure.
How about playing in a bowl game that essentially is going to be like a home game? In some kind of way. I know the atmosphere is a little bit different, but in terms of the folks who are going to travel down from Austin, and the fact that, of those 65,000 plus, the overwhelming majority will be Horns fans.
Super pumped. We've got great fans. And the idea that there's going to be a bunch of burnt orange and white in there, I'm fired up about that for sure.
And speaking of fired up, Coach, I imagine with the trajectory of the program that we just talked about, I know you got a bowl game in front of you and there's a lot of things happening in the now, but big picture, excited about where this program is going?
Yeah, I'm fired up. We're doing it the right way. I think our kids are doing it the right way. And that's what this process is about. Like, it's about growth. And I think we're growing in the right direction, the right way, which is, to me, the most important thing.
10 years later, and he looks exactly the same. How'd you do it, Coach?
I don't look the same, man. I don't look the same. I saw a picture of me from the last deal. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was not, no. Anyhow.
We appreciate the time, Coach.
All right, brother.
All right, we'll see you soon.